Hey gang, how's it going? As you can see, I'm a little more bundled up than normal, mostly because a few days ago, the snowpocalypse hit Saskatoon. We got snow about a month and a half early, and it just caused everybody to be in a glass case of emotion.
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
Anywho, enough chit-chat about the Saskatchewanian weather. I'm off to the cinema this afternoon to go check out The Girl on the Train.
Why are you here?
Because I'm afraid of myself.
Not to be confused with The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Girl Interrupted, or Who's That Girl?
Kiss me.
I've got the moves, baby. You got the motion.
Who's that girl?
Yes, I'm dropping obscure Madonna movie references. That's just how I roll. I don't really know very much about this movie. I've seen the trailer. The trailer looked kind of intriguing to me. I have it on good authority from friends of mine who have read the book that the movie is based on. The book is actually quite an enthralling read, so yeah, okay, that's got me interested. I think I'm more or less compelled to see Girl on the Train because of the inclusion of Emily Blunt, and I've been a huge fan of Emily Blunt's work right from the very get-go. I, for one, think she is the best Black Widow we never had casted.
What is going on? Since when did people start asking each other?
Sorry, Scarlett. And she is such a versatile talent. I mean, she can do action cinema, like look at Edge of Tomorrow. She can also combine action with drama in last year's Sicario, the criminally underrated Sicario.
Where the hostages? Where the hostages?
And she's capable of doing comedies as well.
It's our wedding, Pete, and I mean, seeing as everyone's gonna be wearing yarmulkes.
I would go see a movie with Emily Blunt reading names out of the phone book for 90 minutes. That's how much I like her. So anywho, I'm off to the cinema. I'm gonna screen this bad boy with my good buddy JD, and I will be back with a review. I took away 3 highly valuable life lessons from watching that movie. Number 1, don't become an alcoholic. Number 2, don't get addicted to taking commuter trains everywhere. And number 3, don't leave your magnetic corkscrew conveniently located on your fridge.
Shh, spoilers!
I'm not really sure if that's a spoiler or not. I don't think it is. Maybe it is, I don't know. So The Girl on the Train, this is a real conundrum for me to review because it's really hard intrinsically to dive into what you thought worked and what you thought didn't work in a whodunit murder mystery without really engaging in wanton spoilers. So I'm really going to try my hardest to not spoil anything. For those who are really unfamiliar, it's based on a celebrated and popular novel by Paula Hopkins, I think that was her name. And it stars Emily Blunt as this divorcee, kind of chronic alcoholic. She's a real sad sack of a human being, really kind of pathetic. And she basically takes this commuter train daily and passes by this house that has a young couple that she begins obsessing over on a daily basis. Like every minute little detail of their lives, she sort of dissects and dives right into with each day that she passes by on the train. She witnesses the woman from the house potentially cheating on her husband, and of course this sets off her into this whirlwind of conflicting emotions because she is a divorcee as well. So that sort of sets the plot in motion, and the girl in question from the house, who's played by Haley Bennett, and one thing I gotta say, which I mentioned in my Magnificent Seven review, is that someone has to make a determination whether or not Haley Bennett and Jennifer Lawrence are indeed the same human being, because oh my god, she looks just like J-Law.
A
teacher once told me I was the mistress of self-reinvention. It's like having a secret.
So anyway, Haley Bennett's character goes missing, and that sort of propels the plot forward, and it eventually becomes a whodunit when it becomes pretty abundantly clear that she is no longer alive. And that's all I will really say about the plot of this film going forward.
I saw her. I saw her from the train. She was with this man.
Okay, we need to talk about how limitlessly awesome Emily Blunt is. She is an actress that has this innate capability of elevating misguided, messy, and mediocre material to a whole other level just based on her being in the film.
I used to watch This Perfect Couple.
Emily Blunt's performance in this film is kind of a small-scale miracle, and I say that in respect to the fact that she delivers a far better performance that a fairly mediocre film like this truly deserves.
What happened that night in the tunnel? Tell me the truth.
There's been lots of performances and lots of actors who have played chronic alcohol and self-destructive alcoholics, but hers seems sort of eerily genuine, and it felt lived in, and it felt believable, and she brings a real mental and physical frailty to this part. I don't think she's ever played a more distraught character in a movie, and every time Emily Blunt is on screen, you're just captivated and you're riveted, and she plays a fairly dislikable character. There's very little attempts in this film to really sugarcoat her part.
Just for a second.
She really is a person that causes a lot of harm to herself. There's a couple other small performances that I also really admired. Allison Janney, she plays this very small but very crucial part as a police investigator that sort of has her eyes on Emily Blunt's character as a suspicious party in the disappearance/death of Haley Bennett's character.
Can you tell me where you were Friday night?
I was in the city, and then I went to visit my husband.
You mean your ex-husband?
And she really brings this no-nonsense frankness to her detective character that I thought was really kind of refreshing. I thought she was really quite soft-spokenly strong in the few scenes that she did have.
It's my understanding that the woman who has gone missing was his nanny.
There's a lot of problems with this movie. Like, first of all, it's been really compared with Gone Girl, and I think that's sort of setting up audiences for ultimate disappointment right there, because Gone Girl is an upper echelon benchmark film work from David Fincher, and I can see the superficial comparisons. I mean, both Gone Girl and The Girl on the Train, they have the word girl in the title. They got that.
Yes! All right.
But seriously, they were both released in October of their respective years. They're both based on very popular novels. They're both based on murder mystery storylines about the disappearance and death of a woman. So on those levels, yes, they share a lot of common threads. Fincher's film was so assured and confident in so many ways. This film, I thought, was really sloppily executed. It also uses a very awkwardly structured flashback narrative structure. The film sort of traverses back in time and then back to the present at multiple different stages. I mean, and they utilize title cards to let you know exactly where they're going back in time, but there doesn't seem to be a flow or a consistency with them, and they don't seem to coalesce together really, really well. I found it very jarring. That's not to say that I don't like films that have non-linear narratives. Some of my favorite films of all time have had non-linear narratives, but this one, it just seems sort of haphazardly constructed. I have not read the novel, so I don't know how the novel is structured at all, but I really didn't like the structure of this film whatsoever. I just thought it was far too jarring and very distracting. Whodunits are effective when they leave you constantly guessing as to who done it. And The Girl on the Train doesn't do an effective job with tantalizing viewers and leaving breadcrumb-like clues as to who they think the main culprit is, because I think it becomes really obvious very, very early on who the real culprit is. And I think they throw in some red herrings in the plot here and there to throw you off. But I mean, I think really astute and smart viewers will be able to pick up on those red herrings very, very easily. And I think the film sort of telegraphs itself far too early.
I saw your wife with someone.
Megan has a therapist. Is that who you saw?
I think it reaches a climax that is unfortunately very anticlimactic, and you know exactly where it's going, which in turn leads to this very hastily sort of happy ending that I don't think the film really earns. Gone Girl had this hauntingly ambiguous ending. This film is pretty clear cut with its ending, and I could have used for a little more ambiguity. I don't like it when films really spell out exactly where they're headed and what's going to happen with one character versus another and so forth. This is a case where the trailers looked way more mesmerizing than the final finished product. And
Did you murder Megan Hipwell?
No.
I wasn't enthralled with the central murder mystery. I didn't particularly find, again, the plotting structure of the film worked at all. This film's pacing, it felt so slow. It didn't feel like it had any strong forward momentum drive at all. Never once checked my watch during Gone Girl, but I certainly checked my watch a lot while watching this movie.
Why are you here?
So I think Girl on the Train is kind of a semi-honorable failure. I think it has a good central premise. I like the introductory sections of the film. Emily Blunt gives a powerhouse tour de force performance. She proves yet again why she's probably one of the most underrated actresses working today. I think she really helps elevate this film. The film would have been way worse off without Emily Blunt's presence in this film. And yeah, I think this was a well-intentioned misfire for me.
I'm not the girl I used to be.
So there you go. There's my review of The Girl on the Train. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the film. Also, let me know what you think of Emily Blunt as an actress. Let me know what some of your favorite films of hers are. Let me know what some of your favorite murder mystery thrillers are. Also, if you could like this video, I'd really appreciate it. If you could hit that big, red, shiny subscribe button, that would mean the world to me. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you at the movies.